In Washington, $60 on the shelf is about $75 out the door. So if we're talking best under 75, we're really talking about $60 before tax. And tonight, I'm giving you bottles that I would actually consider buying under 75 bucks out the door. No unicorns, no secondary prices, no hype hunting, just real bottles you can walk in and grab. Well, mostly. Yo, what's up? It's your favorite small barkeep here. I'm drinking every bottle on the bar, but tonight we're talking Washington State value. Every bottle here is under $60 shelf price in Washington. That keeps it under about 75 bucks out the door once the 20.5% hell tax and liter tax hit. I'm not going to run the math every time. Just know the rule. Under 60 on the shelf means you're going to end up at about 75 at the most. And there's one bottle, and there's a couple bottles in here that I'm grabbing almost any time if I see them around this price. Let's get into it. We're starting with a little heat, and I'm talking Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof Rye, $45.99 on the shelf here in Washington. After the hell tax hits, that puts it up closer to 56. But boom, this one is a banger. Barrel proof, tons of that rye spice, under 50 bucks before tax. If you like proof, this is a ridiculous value. Big heat, big spice, drinks below its proof. So this is what I'm getting at here when I'm saying you don't need to spend 150 bucks to get some good juice. You get this almost anywhere in the country under 50 bucks. That's a win. Now, a lot of people think those JD barrel proofs are a little bit on the hotter side, especially the ryes. Well, if that's the case, then you can go for one of these bad boys. These are still pretty nice proof, 120 proof, and even now they're a little bit higher. That's the Knob Creek single barrel picks. So right now, my Fred Meyer locally has one of these for 45 bucks plus the hell tax. I don't know if it's the new version or the old version. So the old version was always 120 proof. The new version now is just cask strength, so whatever it came out of the barrel at. So you see them anywhere from 120 to 130 is what I've seen so far. The ones on the shelf are usually about 9-10 years old. The one I have here is one of the old 15-year-old ones that is, as you can see, I got about 2 pours left. This one is immaculate, but even the regular ones from every grocery store in the area, 40 bucks, you're still getting great whiskey for the price. And if I'm being honest, this might be best bang for the buck on the table. Like, these Knob Creek picks, so tasty and such a great price. I don't like to say this often, but you get that classic bean profile on these. Oak, caramel, a little bit of nuttiness. So if you like consistency, these deliver. And we're still under 50 bucks pre-hell tax. All right, so I wouldn't say this is one that people sleep on, but this is kind of a newer one to the market, and they're really putting out some great budget whiskey, and that's Green River. This one is not the one I'm talking about right now, actually. I just noticed I don't have any left of the Green River Full Proof. This is a weeded pick, but, it's still pretty affordable. Looks a similar label, but anyways, the Green River Full Proof. That is such a value. I think here in Washington it's $51.99 plus the hell tax. So it's not flashy, it's not allocated, it's not super hyped, but Green River is putting out some solid juice for their base lineups. So you get sweetness up front, solid structure mid-palate, enough proof to keep it interesting. If you want something that kind of doesn't feel so mainstream, this is definitely a strong play. And again, still under 60 on the shelf. Now, these first 3 that we talked about were pretty hot and pretty up there in the proof. If you're kind of like me, I kind of prefer mine a little lower in proof, like about 105 to 117 is kind of my range where I just think it's bourbon is great. Then this is a great one here. So this is the Four Roses Small Batch Select. This one's only 104 proof. If you don't want the heat, this is freaking delicious. Great everyday pour. It's a little more expensive than these other ones, which is crazy since these are coming in a high proof, but whatever. It's for Four Roses, $58 is how much it's at Total Wine locally, plus the hell tax. It's very refined, very balanced, and it's going to not be anywhere near as punchy as these other three. So if you're pouring for friends, this feels like a really polished pour without breaking that $75 ceiling that we're talking about in the video. It's not the biggest flavor on the table, but it might be the cleanest and just smoothest flavor on the table. And even with all these bottles I've shown here, there's still one bottle that I'm always going to be grabbing first and always buying it if it's at a decent price. Stay tuned. We'll get to that one in a few. All right, another one that I love having on the shelf, and this one can be a little divisive, but that's Henry McKenna 10-year. So 10-year age statement, single barrel, under $50 before hell tax. This is $49 at Total Wine, which is nuts since they overprice everything. So here's the honest part. That's what kind of brings up some of the division on this bottle. Since it's a single barrel, some barrels are better than others. This one I have here, I loved it. Sorry, got neighbors driving by and honking their horn. This one, let's see, barreled on 5/22/12. That one was a delightful pour, and that was my first bottle of McKenna. So since I had this, I love McKenna. But yeah, it's true. They're single barrels. You could get some that are not as good, but when you hit a good one, it's worth way more than $50. So oak, depth, feels more mature than most things in this price tier. This is the bottle I grab when I want something that feels a little older without paying extra for just it being allocated. All right, well, if you know me at all, you know that I was going to pull out a bottle from this brand. And that's my good friends over at Redwood Empire. I love Redwood Empire. This one is just a touch over 50 on the shelf. This is their newest release as far as I've seen. This is the Pipe Dream Toasted Triple Finish. So this is another one that's coming in at a bit lower of a proof. This one is actually 92 proof. So if you can get past the low proof, it's got tons and tons of flavor. Again, like about $53 for this one, plus the hell tax, putting it right in that range that we're looking at, under $75 out the door. Toasted influence, sweetness, very approachable. If you're pouring for a big group that doesn't want so much heat, I'd say this is a great play. Tons of flavor. Just a great bottle here from Redwood Empire. And even though this is bottles under 75, I'm always going to have some budget bottles for my budget kings and queens out there. So if you're 75 is too much, you're not spending that much, you want to go down a bit, Early Times 1 liter, $26.99 plus the hell tax. Or even lower than that, you can go with the Evan Williams bottled in bond, white label, 100 proof. This is my go-to around the holidays if I'm having guests over, and I'm using it as a mixer usually, but it's a very solid pour though. So there we go. A couple of budget options for you. $26.99 for that Early Times, and then the Evan Williams is like $17.99 or something plus hell tax, so it's dirt cheap. All right, so now to kind of my favorite bottle, the bottle I'm always going to make sure I have on the bar. If I walk into a store in Washington and I see this one for under 50 on the shelf, there's one I'm always going to be grabbing first, and that is this one. Eagle Rare 10-year. So I'm hoping that the 12-year becomes the newest one I can just go on the shelf and grab, but until that happens, I have to be happy with the Eagle Rare 10. I mean, what can I say about Eagle Rare 10? In Washington, Total Wine overprices it a little bit, but I can usually find it for $36 to $40 pre-tax. And at that price, if I don't have one on the bar, that's always a bottle I love to have on the bar. 10 years old, balanced, consistent, easy to pour, neat. You can mix it if you want to just ruin it. I'm just kidding. I'm not paying $80 for it. I'm never even thinking about paying secondary for it. It's good with whiskey, but it's not worth anything more than what it is. So $50 max. I said $45 plus hell tax. Sign me up. If I had to rank my top 3 under 60 on the shelf in Washington right now, I'm going first place is going to be Eagle Rare. I'm going second place is going to be a Knob Creek pick. And then third place is the Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Barrel Proof Rye. So those are my top 3. If I'm staying on budget and I'm not wanting to spend a lot of money, those are the ones I'd be looking at. You get lots of bang for your buck on all 3 of those. Just all delightful pours. All right, so ultimately, I just wanted to share in this video, you don't need to spend $150 on a bottle to be drinking good whiskey, even in Washington with the crazy hell tax. But in Washington, you do got to understand what the price you see on the shelf means and what it's actually going to be when you get to the register. So if somebody says, I got $75 to spend on a bottle, what should I get? And you're in Washington, well, I can't tell you one that's $75 because then by the time you get the hell tax added on, you're out to like $100 out the door. So all these, if you're buying them at a place that prices things reasonably, should be less than $75 out the door. And then hit me in the comments. I'm pretty sure in other areas you can probably find these for a lot cheaper than we can here. So not only do we have the hell tax, but we also have huge markups here in Seattle. It's just brutal out here. So, anyways, under 60 on the shelf, under 75 out the door. This is what I would buy. As always, drinking every bottle on the bar. I would give you a cheers, but I'm not drinking anything right now, so have a good one.